This is one of our 427 Ford stroker engines. Today we're going to show you how we install brand new clutch, bell housing, and high torque mini starter on our engines. We do make it available to all of our customers to have this installed already, ready to go right out of the box. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to show you step by step how we install it on our engines. We put the mid plate on there for you. This in particular application, 427, is a 28 ounce balance. We have the billet steel Ford Racing flywheel on there. The pilot bearing, a brand new pilot bearing, is installed in there for you. The bell housing alignment pins are brand new installed on there. They're very clean, so there's no paint on there, so the bell housing will go right on there. And then we're working with a Zoom heavy duty clutch here. This is a 26 spline clutch. You can see it says flywheel side. It is very important that always the clutch disc is installed properly, and as you can see here it says flywheel side, so this is going to go right onto the engine in this fashion. So in the next few steps here we're going to show you how we install our entire clutch, the heavy duty SFI bell housing, new clutch fork, the throwout bearing, and then the high torque mini starter. And then we will even spin test the engine with the starter on there to make sure everything is right on. So when you get it, everything on the clutch will be aligned, ready to go right out of the box. Okay, very important. The pressure plate alignment pins have been installed for you on the flywheel, and these are very important. That'll align the clutch pressure plate on there right on, so you'll have no vibration issues or anything. So we always install them and have them ready to go. So we're going to put the clutch disc and the pressure plate on right now. Okay, we're ready to put our clutch disc on right now. As you can see, the clutch alignment tool is installed in there, and this will properly align the clutch disc and pressure plate as a unit. And as you can see, the flywheel side must be installed onto the flywheel, and that is being installed into the pilot bearing right now. So now we're putting the pressure plate on, aligning it onto the alignment pins there, and we are going to hold the clutch alignment tool. It's in the pilot bearing, and we're going to install all of the 6 pressure plate bolts in now, and we're going to tighten them down evenly to the flywheel. This is very important that they're all like a crisscross pattern. They're all snug down in an even fashion, so they're all tightened up, so there won't be any alignment issues. Okay, now we have the pressure plate all tightened. As you can see, what we're going to do is we're going to actually just check the torque. We're going to check all 6 bolts, make sure they're torqued to 18 foot-pounds. And we're going to go over them twice, just to make sure all 6 bolts on the pressure plate are torqued to 18 foot-pounds. So as you can see here, they're all tightened up for you. Now the alignment tool is in there, and you can see we left that in there the whole time we were tightening up the pressure plate. And this alignment tool is extremely important. What this does is it keeps the alignment tool, it aligns the entire clutch disc to the center of the pilot bearing, and you keep that in there as we're tightening up the pressure plate. As you can see, I can remove it and install it extremely easy, and that means the alignment is right on. So the alignment tool goes right in, and then it can be removed. So we're right on, the alignment is right on. Now we're ready to put our bell housing onto the engine, and we're going to mount that up with the brand new heavy duty clutch fork, and the throwout bearing is installed. So that's our next step. Okay, we're installing our heavy duty SFI bell housing right now. As you can see, it's going right on the alignment pins. Right on. We're going to put the all the necessary bolts to hold it on right now and tighten them all up. This is the heavy-duty SFI approved bell housing, heavy-duty bell housing that we're installing on here. So we'll get that all tightened up, and then we will install the high torque mini starter. Okay, now we have all of our bolts mounted. The bell housing is mounted to the engine. All the bolts that go underneath are mounted. We are now ready to put our high torque starter, and what we're going to do, we're actually going to hook up the cables and spin the engine over to make sure the starter gear is aligned with the flywheel and retracting properly. So we will fully test that for you to make sure everything's operational and working. So when you get it in the vehicle, just hit the key and it's going to fire right up. So we're going to put the high torque mini starter on right now. Okay, we now have our high torque starter installed here, and we're going to hook up the cables as so. The big nut on here is going to get 12 volts constant power, the battery cable all the time to this lug here where I'm pointing, and right over here this other lug here, the smaller one, that's going to get key activated 12 volts power to it. So when you turn the ignition key on and off, the wire that will be supplied with the starter will have key activated 12 volts power on and off the ignition key to this one. The other one right here is again right off the battery solenoid, 12 volts constant power on that, and then 12 volts key activated power on this one. And we'll have that highlighted in blue, so it's nice and simple, and the little instructions come with it, and the wire, which is over here, that'll come with the starter wire tied on there. One other thing I'd like to show you, we do supply you with the bolts that will mount the transmission to the bell housing. And as you can see, the clutch fork and the throwout bearing are installed for you. And then when you put your adjustable clutch cable through this hole on here and install that, it is very important that when you adjust that cable onto the clutch fork that you have at least 1 inch travel on the end play on the clutch pedal in the vehicle. If you don't have enough end play on the clutch cable, again, if you don't have enough adjustment on the clutch cable, you have to have at least 1 inch of free play on the clutch pedal, and that will basically, once the throwout bearing touches the fingers here, you just want to give it a little bit of preload on the adjustment on the cable and have again at least 1 inch travel on the clutch pedal. If you over tighten the clutch cable, you can wear out the thrust bearing on the engine. So that's why it's imperative to have the proper end play on the adjustment. Basically, your clutch cable will come through here, and there's an adjustable nut on there, and it's very simple to adjust to get your clutch adjustment right on. But as you can see, everything comes on it. The clutch fork, throwout bearing, the pilot bearing, all the alignment is right on. And now we're going to basically just hook up the wires to the starter and wing the engine over and make sure the starter is kicking back in and the alignment is right on. So that will be fully tested for you, and you'll have absolutely no problems when you get it. The engine will just drop in, and all this is done for you, ready to roll. So we're going to hook up the wires and spin test the engine for you. Okay, we have our starter wired up, and we're just going to spin test the engine to make sure the starter engagement is perfect. So go ahead, spin test it. Okay, as you can see, the starter is engaging perfectly and retracting back into the starter, so the alignment is right on.